My boyfriend of 5 years is a roleplayer on World of Warcraft, and he's been roleplaying into other characters' private parts and says it's not cheating because that's his character doing it, not him. Posted by you/cheating. Hi, I'm 25F, and my boyfriend Sam is 29M. Some background information: if you want to, you can skip this part. We met through a mutual friend on a night out 5 years ago. I really liked him as soon as I met him, and he really liked me back. We became a couple pretty quickly, and for the first year, things were great. We moved in together after 7 months. To be honest, we haven't had many problems in our 5 years of being together, only one major fight we had when I was 23, and we broke up for about a month. Nobody slept with anyone else or flirted or anything like that, we both just became pretty depressed without each other. At the 2-year mark, he bought the game World of Warcraft. A lot of my friends play it, so I wasn't worried, even though I did know how addictive it is. He started playing all the time. Literally, all the time. If he was busy raiding and I made dinner, he would refuse to stop playing and eat. If I wanted to watch our favorite show, he wouldn't come to watch it. He'd prefer playing than having sex. He would stay up until all hours of the morning to play, and skip work too. I had to voice my opinion on it eventually and told him I hated how he was constantly ignoring me for the game, and I thought this was a really exaggerated way of playing. He told me he didn't really care, and he was having a really fun time with his guild friends and told me to butt out of his gaming life. I was effing furious, but I let it slide for some strange reason. After about 2 months, I told him this was going to stop, or I was gonna leave him. Hooray for me, he cancelled his account. It came from him, so I was over the moon. Things got much better. He didn't play again for a long time. In fact, he just reactivated his account at the beginning of the year. His friend bought him a game card so that they could play together again, and because he seemed so excited to see how different the game was, I didn't comment on it. Things weren't as bad as they used to be. He plays now, quite a lot, but definitely less than he used to. He prioritizes a lot of things before the game now, like me, work, dinner, TV shows. I was pretty content with the way things were going. He only played 3 hours a day, max, and I had my own things to do meanwhile. That was until yesterday. This was when I found out some seriously effed up crap was going on. I was sitting next to him on my own computer while he was playing. I decided, why not watch him play? Perhaps get to know the game better, try to understand why it's so addictive. Boy, what a bad idea that was. He was role-playing. I'd heard about RP before, but I never thought he'd be the kind of guy to do it. I actually find it rather odd, but I'm a very supportive person of the phrase each to their own, so fair enough. I asked him what kind of roleplay it was, etc., and he told me he was just in a market in a city called Silver something. I've forgotten. He takes it very seriously. He was buying apples or something because his character was hungry? He had just randomly decided that his character was hungry, so he bought him food. Okay. He then got very into detail and started explaining every kind of roleplay he does, etc. He must have thought I thought it was interesting or something. Then, he told me he also likes something he calls ERP, which is erotic role-playing, I believe. I sort of just stared at him in confusion. Like, you roleplay sex? He admitted he's into that, and his character's actually quite a ladies' man. I froze. I asked specifically what he emoted, etc., and he showed me some screenshot examples. I can't tell if this bothers me. I can't tell if I think it's cheating or not. But it's up to me to set boundaries for myself, so I'm effing confused. I didn't like the fact that he was emoting all these sexual things and even going into detail about his thrusting, etc., but I also feel like a effing idiot because they're cartoons? The girl on the other side of the screen might be fat, ugly, a man, even. So, should I really be mad? I do consider it, in some form, cheating, yes, because he's getting horny and imagining doing sexual things with another woman. He told me he's wanked over these events a couple of times, and apparently some girls have told him he's great and that they've been effing themselves over my boyfriend's keyboard skills. Ugh. I'm pretty torn. I walked away from my boyfriend after telling him I thought it was pretty weird and considered it to be a form of cheating. He yelled after me I was being silly and that it was in no way cheating. Just really weird. What would you guys do? How do I tell him to stop? Is this really weird, or am I overreacting? /relevant comments. Commenter. If it makes you uncomfortable, he needs to stop. Anything sexual done with another person online or IRL, I would consider cheating. Especially since he's not just role-playing, but actually touching himself. Commenter 2. I've played WoW since it came out, so we are talking over 10 years. It is an addiction. How it becomes one is because it is a social game, and an escape from reality. It isn't a game that you can just hop on and be done in an hour, because most dungeons take almost that long to do, or waiting to get a group to do them with takes as long. Plus, it is so easy to do a quest that might take 10 to 20 minutes and then just keep going. You lose track of time so quick. I had problems in my first marriage when I started playing, and because of the time I put in, I'd say it contributed to my divorce at the end. Luckily, my current wife has just started playing with me. So that's the first thing. Now to the RPing of segs and if it is cheating or not. If he doesn't think of it as cheating, then to him it isn't. But if you think it is, then it is, and it's a boundary for you that needs to be set and not crossed by him. Believe it or not, but there have been many people who met on this game and moved to be with each other and got married. Some of them even have in-game marriages and parties to celebrate their union. What he is essentially doing, though, is the same thing as sexting. It's no different than having it through text or IM. Only added convenience is the visual in-game things. There was actually an episode of The Big Bang Theory where one of the people had sex under a bridge with a troll in WoW, and the guy's girlfriend was furious. The only difference with them and your situation is the guy knew he effed up and tried to make it up to her. Talk with him about it and set your boundaries. If he crosses them, then you end it. Not much else you can do, except he is going to keep doing it. Commenter 3. I used to ERP, WoW, forums, chats, and I was of the opinion that it was more like reading a dirty book than sexting. But then I got into a relationship, and I hadn't ERP'd since we had met, but we were long distance, so I started to think about doing it again. Whenever I felt the urge to, I also felt guilty, so I started really thinking about it. With ERP, there is another person on the other end who is participating, and that is the fundamental difference that makes it more like sexting than reading literatica or something. If I was with someone and they were ERPing without me okaying it, I would feel like it was cheating, because you're giving another person pleasure, even if it is just with words. So that changed my mind. Maybe I could present it to her significant other this way? Edit. I was talking about this with a friend of mine who is also into RP, and she made the point that in an RP, you can always fade to black and insinuate that sex happened without going into the gory details. So maybe that's a compromise that could be discussed? If his motivation is just to have fun RPing with people, and not to be writing sexual scenes with people other than his significant other, then he shouldn't have a problem with altering how he plays and just being someone who has a disclaimer of, I don't write smut. Update 1 month 1 week later. Hey! Not sure if you remember me, but here I am again. You can read my previous post if you want. So I appreciate all your comments very much, and it sincerely helped me a lot when it came down to confrontation. We spoke about it. He explained to me that he didn't think it was cheating because he isn't feeling for the women in the game he ERPs with, just his character does. Now, at this point, I'm pretty fed up with all this role-playing crap. I told him his character isn't effing real, he shouldn't be feeling anything for anyone because it's a effing cartoon. I told him he was basically having sex chat with someone else, and that is definitely infidelity. He was more shocked at the fact that I insulted his roleplay than that I was accusing him of cheating. He wasn't having it, he kept insisting it wasn't cheating. It's his character's sex life, not his. I explained if he was acting the same way with someone over text, it would definitely be cheating, so why shouldn't the game be any different? That question led up to him explaining for over 2 hours the concept of roleplay. Now, I respect anyone who role-plays, each to their own, but come on, he was basically giving me BS excuses at this point, telling me he only wanks because he thinks these blood elves or whatever are better looking than anything he has in real life. Okay. I see. How can I ever compete with a bunch of pixels, right? So, I decided to go undercover. I wanted to see if he would go along with it if a girl were to start talking out of her character and hit on him, not the character. At this point, I was still very determined to save our relationship, but after the following events, it wasn't gonna happen. We ERP'd without him knowing it was me. I ran to my best friend's house, who knew the situation, and borrowed her WoW account. I have to admit I think she was a little confused, but she understood how I didn't want to just let him go. After the ERP, where I've never felt more dumb or idiotic in my entire life, I tried asking more personal and out-of-character questions. He told me he was single, we didn't break up. He told me he was fit and goes to the gym regularly, he's actually a pretty big guy and never ever goes to the gym or does any exercise. He told me he would love to get my number and perhaps we could meet up at some point. I was shocked. I've never felt more stupid in my life. I thought this was just a phase, maybe he really liked WoW, but nope. He was legitimately out of character cheating on me. After a few more questions and answers in detective mode, lol, which I'm not gonna mention because it makes me feel sick, I logged off quickly and walked home after thanking my friend, and of course updating her with my new information. Once I got home, he was still on his PC. I was too upset to speak. I really love this guy, and he's so easily just throwing away what we have over a game. I can't even deal with it. This whole month has been horrible. I miss him so much, but at the same time, I hate him. And I hate WoW, even though it's definitely not the game's fault he did what he did and became who he became. All I can say is he changed a lot over a few months, and it's sickening to think about it. I broke up with him the morning after and didn't really give a reason, even though he could tell something was up with me. I just said I didn't want to be in this relationship so much, and he said he saw it coming. I took my things and left as soon as I could. All my stuff is back at my parents' now. Thanks, Reddit. You did help a lot. I think I'll take a break from dating for now. /relevant comments. Commenter. Missed a great chance to F with him by not giving him your own number in-game. Ops response. My best friend said the same thing. I was thinking about it, but honestly, I was in no mood to play around. It wouldn't have been fun, and I'd heard enough BS excuses for one day. I didn't want to hear how he was only going along with the ERP cause he knew it was me. Good idea, though. Commenter 2. Just. EU. For the record, I love to RP and I've played a text-based RPG for years. There is a delineation between character and self, and that doesn't mean you have to cyberbang, because guess what, your character doesn't actually need a sex life. Especially if your significant other is not okay with it. Plus, you busted him cheating out of character anyway. This kind of stuff can really F with people. A girl that used to play my game cheated on her husband with 2 separate guys whose characters her character was involved with. She left her kids with her sister and drove to meet these guys, separately, while her husband was deployed. It was so trashy. You are well rid of this guy. Commenter 3. Not surprised. At 29, he puts more effort into a game than he does in real life. That's really not somebody to build a future with. Opt to a deleted commenter. Whether you believe this story is real or not makes no difference whatsoever to me, but I figure I should explain how anyway. I know his character name, he uses it as a username for basically everything. I know he's always in Silvermoon City, and after we added his character name to her friends list, this was confirmed. We added his character to her friends list on her main just to see his whereabouts. Now, I know nothing about Silvermoon, but my best friend, Sophie, does. I've watched him play while I've been doing my own hobbies on my own laptop next to him, so I know he hangs out in a certain place in the city. I was worried about how to find him and which character to use when Sophie told me it was possible to make a level 1 elf and run to the city, only taking about 10 minutes. She did that for me. It was hard finding him. I never stated how long it took in the post. But we did. He was in the inn, which is a place I've seen him in before. We approached him, and the role play commenced. Simple. Guys, if you don't believe this post, just ignore it. It's hard enough without idiots trying to catch me out for being a liar. Thanks for your comment, anyway.